Terrence Howard was chosen to be in the biopic for Marvin Gaye, but Terrence Howard said no, 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 no. And then Shannon tried to settle. Man, Shannon is the gift that keep on giving. And as y'all can see, I'm rocking my hat for the Queen Beyonce Cowboy Carter tour kicked off. All this and more on Another Mother episode 17.
Yeah. When I fly into the sea, somebody finding their seats. What do they say?
Hey.
When I fly into the sea, somebody finding their seats. What do they say? Hey, would you like coffee, tea, or me? 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 Get up and get the dance with me.
Early morning, late nights, flight attendant.
Hey,
Negotiate with their receipts. You didn't know what it is. Just be
Here's
now the
running
first
that
class.
down. Take that down to the back elsewhere.
Back a leg real slow.
And then even don't order 4 drinks. So. Get your coffee. Get your tea.
That's just slap. I'm sorry. Go ahead. That's slap off.
Get your coffee. Get your tea. Get your love. We Another Mother Poddio.
Hey.
I'm your host, Lisa Renee, and this is my co-host,
The Big Black Ant Wow.
916.
Sack Town.
916.
Sack Town.
Northern California.
West Coast.
Our show will be in Northern California.
West Coast.
Hey, y'all, get your tickets to buckle your seatbelts. We are coming to a state near you in Las Vegas. Go to the space in Las Vegas and get your tickets for Buckle Your Seatbelts. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It means so much to us, guys. So let's get into it. Terrence Howard turned down the Marvin Gaye biopic. Now, the rumor is...
rumor has it.
Okay. The rumor is that Terrence did not want to do because allegedly there were rumors that Marvin Gaye was gay or maybe bisexual. And if y'all know anything about Terrence Howard, he says, oh, no. I ain't playing that roll. But I got a question for y'all. I'm just curious. If you acting, why would you not do it? And wow, what you got to say on that?
I'm listen, I say this with all due respect, and I truly mean this. There is a space, and being an actor and being somebody who has been in the fine arts, and just has experience in that realm and occupying a certain frequency in the world that we walk in, there is a certain understanding about portraying a story. Mm-hmm. And so I do think it is very possible for a heterosexual man to occupy a space in that role and not necessarily be gay.
Absolutely.
I do think that's very, very possible. And I commend those that are able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any of that. And so I understand Terrence Howard.
I'm done. I'm so
No, facts. No, that's facts. And that's not listen, I mean, with all due respect, like, you know, if you're able to occupy that role, you know who, I'm going to bring somebody up, RIP. But I'm gonna bring somebody up who's able to occupy this space and still just able to do it because he was that good he just was able to do that. It doesn't mean that you're any more or less of an actor. Some people are just able to do it. And like there was just a space that he went to. He was in Boogie Nights, which is one of my favorite movies of all times. It's phenomenal. But he's in there and he plays obviously somebody who is homosexual, but I believe he had wife, daughters, so there is I commend those that are able to do that. But I also everybody knows Terrence Howard is as good as anybody.
Yeah,
So
he ain't. Yeah, he's not. I
let's
heard
just keep it a row. He is as good an actor as anybody. We all got our personal things we want to say, but if we just talking about the space occupying acting, he can do it all. Like let's just keep it a buck.
yeah, he would have
So
did it.
for him to say that, I understand. I relate to that because I'm like, yeah, that doesn't mean I'm any
Yeah,
less. I'm not doing that. I personally am not doing that. But that's not a slide at all. Certain things you are going to do, certain things you aren't going to do. I'm just
yeah.
not doing it. But I commend those that are able to, especially those who are, anybody who's able to do it. But I'm saying if you're heterosexual and you decide to occupy that space, that's a brave choice to make. And I commend those that do it. I really,
Absolutely.
really do.
A lot of people were saying Luke James could play it. They thought that
Yeah,
because he's
Terrence
a singer
Howard. Here's the
songwriter and
thing.
an actor. So yeah.
Luke James, no, Luke James was in the wasn't he in the new editions? The wasn't he part of the new edition? Wasn't he Johnny Gill?
Let me see. Hold on. I'm trying to pull up his. I don't know if he played John. I wasn't too familiar with Luke James when I
Let
heard
me
his
let me
name when
look
people
let
mention
me
him.
look him up. Dark skinned cat, right?
He looks pretty, yeah, like caramel. I
Let me
wouldn't
see
say
here.
super dark, but I think he does favor
Oh yeah, he played.
Marvin
I
Gaye.
think
Actually, he favors Marvin Gaye actually a lot when I look.
um wasn't he? I'm trying. Man, this cat wasn't he in the new edition thing?
Hold on, let me see his movies and see. Yeah, he did. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
He starred as R&B singer Johnny Gill in
Johnny Gill.
17
Yeah, I was like, damn, I thought I
television
was
biopic,
tripping
The
for a
New
second.
Edition
No,
story.
no, no.
Yeah.
He would be good.
Yeah.
Terrence Howard would be good. Terrence Howard would have been phenomenal. Listen, Terrence Howard playing Marvin Gaye with all those complexities and the musical portion of it as well, and his conveying that and getting in touch with the music. And if they go back to how when he first wrote Sexual Healing and all those songs, like there's a certain place Marvin occupied. That's why he was who he was. That's why he sounded the way he did. So yeah, Terrence Howard would have been really good at that. But Luke James would that could break him open if
I was
done
gonna
right.
say that could be like a that can be a break. And they were
That
saying,
could be Ray for Jamie Foxx.
yeah, Lee Daniels, I guess, was going to produce it. He also was going to produce the Teddy Pendergrass movie, which I believe, what is his name? Oh, Tyrese Gibson, was supposed to play, but I don't know which
Teddy Pendergrass.
Teddy Pendergrass, I mean,
But
Tyrese.
Tyrese would play Teddy Pendergrass.
Exactly.
That
But
wouldn't
that
be
hasn't
bad.
came to fruition too, because there was also some allegedly some things too around Teddy Pendergrass too as well. So I don't know. I think both of these stories would be great to be told. Whatever way, whether they were bi, gay, straight, all of those type of things. Because I think Marvin Gaye, the way he died was just very unfortunate. And it just shows that conflict can get to a point of no return. And I think that movie could help people a lot to say fathers, mothers, we cannot control our children's lives, and just because we don't like certain things, we shouldn't take things in our own hands. And
Yeah,
that story needs to be Marvin Gaye's story for sure
yeah, Marvin Gaye.
needs to be shared. He was an amazing
I
singer.
remember that. I was a really young child.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, Lisa.
No, you're
Sorry.
fine.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead, go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. No, 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 you got it. I'm sorry.
No, he was so before his time.
Yeah.
He was so deep and he was so moving and he was so talented and just such a gentle spirit from what he came out to me as a child. And I really wish they can find someone to tell that story because I think all of us can learn from it.
Yeah, I remember when I was young. I'm just thinking about this now. I just remember the day he passed, I remember, feel like I was in the garage or something.
Hmm.
And I remember my mom, she was really down that day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember asking her, Mom, what's wrong? And she said, Marvin Gaye was killed last night. And as a young child, you hear that, then there's the story, what happened, I mean, there's a lot going on there, man, for
Yeah.
your father. Whoever was right or wrong in that, for it to be your father,
A
that
pastor too. I think he was a pastor.
he might have even been a pastor. So for your father to decide, that's why that scene in Jungle Fever is it's deep. And I can relate, it, I can relate to that possible decision.
Yeah.
I can relate. I was there when certain decisions probably could have been made, considering where you were, especially as a father. So that would definitely, I remember that. It was a morning. I do remember that even as a young child. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I remember Zipporah was down, and Marvin Gaye got killed last night, and I think she even told me that his father did it. And I think she could relate to that, probably going back to spaces in her life, and
Yeah.
there was a lot. There's a lot that lives there.
It is, and I think
Um,
we need to
yeah.
see it. So Lee Daniels, let's get that movie out. So Shannon Sharp, guys, we didn't talk about this last week. He before the news got out, I don't know if everyone knew that Shannon did try to settle for 10 million. And the fact that he tried to settle for 2 million, did he know that there was some truth to this story? Or was it that he just didn't want his business to get out there like that? Um, and I mean, obviously, I don't live with Shannon. I don't know Shannon in that type of way, but I would think maybe he just didn't want his business to get out there only because he's kind of said some counterproductive things on his show that probably now is coming back to bite him. I remember he was getting on this one guy. I forgot who this guy's name was, but he was getting on him about dating a 23-year-old. And Shannon was like, come on, man, you're doing that. So I don't know why he tried to settle. And sometimes people just settle just because they just want it to go away. They just want it to go away. But he did know about this coming out and he did try to settle. But obviously the audios got leaked. We know now he's not with ESPN and I think you said it last week. I guess I agree with you now. I thought about what you said, how he just wanted to have a good time and things like that. And I get it. But we have to be so careful in our decisions, and none of us are perfect, but it can come back and backfire. And this has backfired in a big way because remember, he had that big deal he was about to sign. Now he's going to probably be out more than 10 million. We know Cassie got 30 million. So if she wins, how much is she going to get now? Sure enough, more than that 20K for a cheek.
Mm,
So
mm.
why do you think he was trying to settle it, Ace?
I think he just wasn't. I mean, I think um I think he made a mistake. Everything that you're talking about too. That's again to reiterate because I've had a couple conversations about this since then, from a couple people that watched it, which was awesome. You know what I'm saying? That was good.
Yeah.
It was good engagement. Like, you know what I mean? We talked about it some more and I genuinely I think he made a wrong decision with who he decided to get freaky with. The come on man does come with exactly what you're saying. Like, come on, dog.
Right.
Like, there's listen, even to get man to man, and y'all gonna feel about me a certain way and whatever, but I'm just keeping it a thou wow. I'm like talking to Shannon, like this is what I would say to Shannon. Like if Shannon ever watches this, this is the kind of stuff I would say to him. Like, just on some brother to brother, don't want to see you lose your bag, don't want to see you out here humiliated, don't want to. I understand the 10 million. The 10 million was worth the investment. If he could have paid 10, got an NDR signed, all that, this is silent and it goes away, it's
Yeah.
worth the investment.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What? I'm gonna hold on to this 10 million for what? To go with this? There's way more long money than that 10 million was short money. He was gonna
ESPN would
remake
have still
that.
been there. Yeah,
Man,
ESPN would have
please.
still been there.
He
Yeah.
was gonna remake. So the come on Unc in that whole space is, yeah, you want to pay to get that silence. So the come on Unc is, and I'm just saying, brother to brother, even if you're gonna go younger, she's legal. Again, should he be messing with her? Probably not.
Yeah, no.
But even if you decide to go younger, I would suggest it be a little bit older, at least 21, 22, at least till they about to get their degree. There's a whole different level of, just life experiences that happens for a young, especially a young, attractive woman from 19 to 22. There's a whole bunch of life experience that happens. So 22, 23, if you want to go that realm, and then if you do decide to go young, don't be out here with these water bugs. You got to go get you a good one. You got to be able to go say, hey, look, this 23-year-old, she's heading in the right direction. And guess what? You're Shannon Sharp. You big and Superman looking still at 56. You can go anywhere and get any one of those ones too that are going to be cool, that are going to be a better quality of somebody that you went and got with. That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, man. You out here, you want a scandal. Nah, man, you could just, and hey, listen, I understand. Hey, look, power. I haven't been in that position from power from that standpoint. I understand it's hungry, and I understand. I was talking to my boy about this, and I was like, and I know there has to be certain pill about it because most men who are rich that are out playing, they all get involved in this scandal some sort of way. So there must be something about the drunk with power to be able to go get a young one and be able to do whatever. But my thing is like you can still do that with a better one. That's all I'm saying. That's what I mean when I'm on some come on, Unc. It's like, yes, all the reasons that women are going to say, all that's true too. You don't need to be with no young girl. Parts of what Monique was saying, I don't know if you need to go get a big girl if that's not your taste. You know what I'm saying? But parts of what Monique was saying when she was saying, hey, man, you need somebody who's going to rub your feet, rub your corns, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you might want to have a girl who got some of that in her, and most likely she's not going to be 23. That's all I'm saying. Don't mean she got to be 53. She might be 33. She might be 29. She might be 27. You feel what I'm saying? Like 23 to 27. There's a lot that happens then. You never know what happens in her life to be able to see this big black king and say, I'm going to rub on your big black feet. You never know. But I'm saying most of the time, those qualities don't exist in the young ones like that. So parts of what Monique is saying on that's probably true, right? But it's still the again, like I said, there's a baseline, and if you don't meet the baseline, man, you can't play. But guess what? Even with normal people, you have a whole world to play with if you have your stuff together. There's a lot of cool women that are looking for a man who just got his stuff together. You ain't got to be the biggest baller. You just show up, you clean, you do your thing. You a man about you take care of your stuff. You love people. You treat her great, man. You don't know. You never know who you can get. Right? Just being a authentic version of yourself and taking care of your queen, right? You have access to the world just as a regular dude, let alone Shannon Sharp. You know what I'm saying? You got, man, the world is yours. You set the baseline. Sorry, y'all gonna fall off the cliff here. Don't mean that you're any less. I love you. Hey, how you doing? I'll shake your hand. I'll give you a hug. But as far as being intimate with me in a certain space, you got to check off certain baselines, and those baselines are not financial. The financial comes with the woman's character. It has nothing to do with what she's doing. A lot of men need to know that too. If you're with a woman, don't matter where she at. If she upholds her stuff a certain way, you might just have to spill a little something in here to help your business grow, and then she then grows you even more because she just needed a little. You just got a quality. It's a certain. That's what I'm saying. That's part of the baseline that I'm talking about. Now the financial stuff is going to come with it. Because they're already going to be there. You don't just got to, oh, whenever you hear me talk about a chick, it's never about, oh, what she does. That's the last thing I say. I talk about how dope she is. So you have the baseline. I just don't understand. The scandal's not worth it to me. It's easier to do it that way. It's quiet. You can come to work, you can talk your stuff, and you can get up out of there. So I just, that's what I would say to Shannon. If you ever, I'm saying it in an endearing way, my brother, because without cuss words, that's literally what I would say to you. If me and you was, hey, brother, there's a lot out here. You didn't need to be out here doing this with her. You know what I mean? So, but on that 10 million to make it go away, all the way back, I say all that to say, yeah, 10 million to make it go away. If he would have made it go away, that would have been well worth the 10 million, because I know one thing that 10 million would have bought him is not me and you talking about him right now in this way with regards to this
Absolutely.
scandal. And
And
that's
he would have
real.
kept it. And he would have kept his job too, as well.
Man, please.
Yeah. And it's funny you talk about people talking to you. One of my friends talked to me about us bringing up Kevin Samuels. And we even talked about what would Kevin Samuels say with the Shannon Sharp. And he was saying, well, Shannon Sharp did exactly what Kevin Samuels said he would do. But he was also telling me, Lisa, because I guess everyone's been talking about Tracy Ellis Ross and some things that Kevin Samuels said about her and how it's come to fruition. And he just wanted to let me know, because he's a big Kevin Samuels fan, that the woman that Kevin was talking about, he said, Lisa, it's not you. He said, just you got yourself together. You're not that woman that he was saying that high value men would not want. He said, so, and we went into a whole conversation, and he did like that. I paid respects to, Kevin Samuels too, as well. But he said, Lisa, if you listen to a show, you weren't the type of woman he was talking about. He actually would praise women that had yourselves looking together, still keeping yourself together, and all these types of things or whatever. But he just wanted to break it down, because a lot of people still respect Kevin. But what Shannon did, I mean, that's some of what Kevin actually talked about. Men are always going to, for the most part, go younger. I mean, think about my relationship dynamic. Julie and I is almost 10 years apart. So, you know what I mean? To him, I'm younger. So there's something to
Hey,
say there. But yeah. So anyway, guys,
yeah,
go. Oh, did you have anything else before we move
I
on?
just want a couple quick things. So the Kevin Samuels thing, and again, hey, feel free to bite my head off or scream at me. For those who love Kevin Samuels, I can't front. I never watched a lot of his videos.
Mhm.
That's just because every video I saw, it was just delivered in a way where I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, doesn't mean there wasn't probably a lot of truth to that, right? From what I gather, maybe there just should have been a better job at him distinguishing, because it just sounded like you feel what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so
that's
when you
what I
do it
got.
like that, you give people a certain position. I will be quick to say and talk about a certain whatever, right?
Mhm.
But I'm going to always try and distinguish it, because it's very important. And reality of it is,
Yeah.
it's most important when we're talking about us. It
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah.
So we have to be, I like to occupy a certain space in that, to reserve room for, all right, man, we can talk about this and get this together, as opposed to, and then the younger, as opposed to just making it seem like it's a blanket thing. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There could have been a little more distinction, but again, I didn't hear all of his stuff. So if I got that wrong, you guys, I'm sorry.
And
And then
I
secondly, Shannon Sharp, or like going for younger, um, not it happens a lot. It
oh,
ain't
I
even
know.
really, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know. I mean, it does. And
It
it
happens a
happens
lot.
both
That's all
ways.
I can say. And
It
we'll leave
happens
it
a
at
lot.
that.
It happens both ways too, as well. Probably more with men to younger women. The thing I think is that, like you said, just unfortunately, when you do certain things in the dark, especially when you're tapping into darkness,
For sure.
um, sometimes those things can come up and bite you. And none of
1000.
this has been perfect. So everyone's just, hopefully after this, everybody is don't be out here
Or
being
be careful.
crazy. It can,
You
yeah, it
better
can come
be
back and bite
careful
you.
what you
It can
say
come
to
back and it
me.
can come back and bite you, even if you got a lot of money and don't. Because even if you don't got money, the diseases can catch up with you. So you got to just be very careful.
Be
Guys,
mindful.
I am rocking my puff shirt and all that to pay homage to one of our queens. in the industry who kicked off her Cowboy Carter show. Beyonce knows Carter, honey. And everybody was shocked, because if you saw some of the footage online, I was trying not to look at it. So when I go to the show, I won't, know. But honey, she kicked off some Renaissance stuff, and I think I probably lost my mind. And then she did the song that she doesn't perform, and that's My House. You know what I mean? And I love that song. Who's in my house? When I wake up, I'm going to buy a house, make love in my house. And it's not a real popular one of her songs, but I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs when I do comedy. I love, who let them goons out the house? So I'm rocking my hat to just say congratulations to Beyonce. I pray she has a wonderful tour. It was so amazing seeing Little Rumi on stage and obviously Blue Ivy doing the daggone thing. I mean, that girl was killing it on stage. I almost got her confused with Beyonce at times. And so I just wish them all the best. I know some people talked about the ticket prices dropping, but to me, that's a blessing because more people can go and actually see the show. So just well wishes to Beyonce on her Cowboy Quarter tour.
And then I also wanted to mention this too. I'm sorry, I meant to discuss it. This slipped my mind before we went on. But in a series of people kicking off tours, K-Dot and SZA kicked off their tour.
SZA, they did too. Yes.
And so they apparently seem to be out getting busy. The reviews have been very high. So.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And actually, there's a part in Beyonce's tour where she kind of paid homage to K-Dot. If you guys haven't seen it, I won't share anything, but I know that some people were saying with K-Dot, they were kind of talking a little bit down, kind of like he's riding on the Drake thing a little bit more, but it's like, hey, ride that wave as long as you possibly can. I haven't seen K-Dot and SZA stuff online like Beyonce's yet, so I can't say if that's true or not. And even if I did think that, I think when you're hot, you're hot. And you got to ride whatever wave you need to ride while you're hot. And that's just that.
Yes. And sorry, I want to, before we move on, that's what, because you say the wave thing.
Yeah.
So if it's kind of one of these things, either you're a critic of Kendrick's or maybe you're just not paying much attention, but it's very easy to say that he's riding the Drake wave. Mm-hmm. He's just riding the victory. This is the victory lap. This isn't the Drake wave. And here's why I say that. There's somebody else, a couple people have tried to say that, like, oh man, he's riding the Drake wave. And again, I'm going to give this little bit history and we'll roll forward. But like, Not Like Us is over a year old.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he did that. His momentum of the wave, what else was he supposed to do? This was a reclamation of where it's supposed to be in K-Dot's mind, right? And so he was proclaimed victor, but in that he was like, okay, I got my foot on their neck. Hey man, let's go. He landed the Super Bowl whenever that was, like in August, and he was just doing it. Everything else was living. He wasn't out here online every day. When do you see Kendrick online every day trolling on some Drake stuff?
Really, yeah.
Never. You don't see any of that. And then GNX comes out, and it's ridiculous. I mean, GNX. Listen here. You know what's never been done in the Super Bowl, and I think certain people are even mad, like even like parts of us, maybe even. You know what's never, because this was a criticism too. You know what's never been done in the Super Bowl is somebody releasing an album not even 3 months before the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl be primarily comprised of that album.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. That's just, and look, guess what? For those of us who have listened to the album backward, forward, and back, X, Y, and Z, he doesn't mention Drake at all.
Right.
Now, he's in victory lap mode, and so he's smashing out here to let y'all know I can do this. And in that, Sure, there may have been one or two inferences, but they were very, very silent. Like it was almost old school, like back in the old school days, like
Yeah,
when they used to diss, you had to catch it in the lyrics type stuff. It wasn't,
right.
and even then, I'm talking one or two. So he ain't riding the Drake. He's just this is victory lap moment, and him doing it at the
Yeah,
Super Bowl. He had to do. Listen, he says it himself. I
yeah,
had to do it.
yeah,
I gotta. How else am I supposed to keep my foot on y'all neck?
yeah.
I gotta do it. So
Absolutely.
it's a movement. It's not really the Drake wave. So anyway,
Absolutely. So, I don't know if you're familiar with Funky Dineva, but Funky Dineva, a lot of people know him. He started back on YouTube, I want to say about 14 years ago, just talking about how he could not stand his job. But where I kind of really took hold to him and became a big fan when he was on a show, Fox Soul, TGIF, with Claudia Jordan and Al Reynolds. And unfortunately, he ended up leaving the show. The show ended up getting Armand Wiggins, who also is another big time YouTuber. But then the show just came to a head after a read of Al Reynolds. Armand went in on him, read him down for his birthday, which a lot of people do that for their birthday. So, anyway, what's really shocking is that Funky Dineva has just recently basically said he made a mistake in so many words.
mm,
And I think this is important for us to talk about. But basically, he said, I lost a check. They were making 250,000 with Fox Soul. He said, because my ego got in the way. He said, yeah, there were conflicts and there was things that we could have worked out, but I let my ego get in the way. And in so many words, I wish I could bring it back. I
mm,
wish I can bring it back. Now, chances are, if they'll bring it back, probably not.
yeah,
Because those director producers, everybody's lost their jobs at that point around that show. And it's like we've moved on, we've moved forward. You kind of learn a lesson. But I think it's for anybody, when you do business with people, conflicts do happen sometimes, but every conflict can be worked out.
yeah,
Sometimes it's worked out quickly, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But if you're dedicated to the project, if you're really leaned into the project and you really believe in the project, try to work those things out. Don't let money just go, because we don't know what could happen with YouTube. And he could have basically had that show syndicated into television and still been getting that check and his YouTube check. And that
yeah,
probably would have been in the total of probably about close to 400,000 or more, because he's
yeah,
been on YouTube, like I said, for so many years. And he's a great personality. And what he does is very good. But I think it's very honorable of him to admit that. And I think by admitting that, I hope that all of us as YouTube people, we can learn from that. You know what I mean? To don't F up your check. You know
man,
what I'm saying? Don't let your ego, your pride, your personality gaps, or your conflicts with others, don't do something that can mess up something that can provide you even a bigger and better platform, maybe a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And so I applaud him for being honest. I know that wasn't easy, to take that type of accountability. That's not easy to say, that
yeah,
I blew that and I would like to bring everybody back if we could. But I think that's growth. And I think
yeah,
that's maturity. And I was very happy to hear him talk about that. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. So let's go ahead. So May the 5th, students, listen to me, because I know we got a lot of 18 to
Damn,
35,
damn.
34 that watch this show. May the
I
5th,
completely missed this
your
topic. Ooh, you brought
wages.
me into heart palpitations.
May the 5th, your wages
Oh my
are
God, hold on.
garnished.
Ooh, I completely missed. Oh, sorry. Ooh, you brought
Your
me into heart
wages
palpitations. Ooh,
are about to be garnished. If
ooh,
you got student loans,
ooh,
I suggest you
ooh,
start taking more credits at school immediately. I think you got to take like 6+ credits
ooh,
to not pay,
ooh,
or start making some payment arrangements, because they about to garnish your check. And I know a lot of people are having meltdowns on TikTok about it.
ooh,
Talking about, y'all stop y'all direct deposit, take your check to Food Line, pay the $2 charge to get it cash.
ooh.
They still gonna garnish it. Because before they even give you the paper check, they're gonna go ahead and garnish it. Now I'm gonna be very honest. I had loans, but I paid them off. Sally Mae gave me the loan to go to college. and I paid them off with my job. So as much as I could try to even want to feel sorry for you, I don't. You took that loan to get your education and you got to pay it back. Now, how they're going about it, I don't know if it's the best way or whatever, but you knew them student loans was out there. So I'm just telling you guys, here's a tip. You got to take more than 6 credits, I believe, and that'll kind of keep the loans going from a deferment and stuff like that. But be responsible and pay that debt off. And when you pay it off, it'll be done. Or I don't know if bankruptcy is, can loans be put in bankruptcies?
I don't think so
I
because
don't
I've
think they
I've
can.
looked into that in the past,
Are
in my
you one?
past life.
Yeah, so oh no wonder your heart is you like
No,
you're not
you don't even
alone.
understand. There's all kind of stuff. You said wages are being garnished for student loans. Let me let y'all in on a secret. I'm about to, you talk about get vulnerable. I'm just being real. It is what it is. But hey man, you talking to somebody who's had their wages garnished from student loans twice.
Yeah. Oh,
So
so
it happened
you know this
once.
school. Okay.
And some type of way in my naivete or ignorance, if you want to put it, some type of way, I put myself in a position where they did it again. And each
Oh
time it was like,
no.
yeah, I was at the job house. I was at VZW both times. What you mean? And I wasn't making a lot. Hey, look, hey, listen, hey, the extracurriculars was coming in handy. Let me tell you that. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, man, hey. It was taking out your boy's check. We
Yes.
couldn't stand for that. We had to, hey, we had to
So this is
fix
not
that.
something new. Garnishments is
Dude.
something. So by him executing this, this is not anything new. And so, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
but the I'm assuming the May 5th people are the people that are in deferment or like something.
Maybe I don't know, but I
I
just
don't know
see people
either.
on
I
TikTok
don't know.
having
I
a
paid my
melt.
student loans off too to Echo Lisa, so thank God I don't have to worry about that. That's what I'm
They are
saying.
having a
I had to
meltdown.
remember that I'm good. I was like, wait, oh, damn. I thought I was, hey man. I'm like, really? Damn, no.
Oh my God. So, I know it's a hard one, but just make payment arrangements what you can, do what you can. But yeah, it's coming, guys. So we just wanted to give you guys so a health update. My son, this is sponsored by Angel Renee. If you guys haven't listened to Angel Renee,
Angel,
check out Angel Renee.
Angel.
My son just got a full ride to UCLA, so I am a proud mom. I am a proud mom. And he's still waiting to hear back on some schools. But when you get a full ride, I'm like, hey, son, what are we talking about? What do you mean you're
What's-
waiting? So,
What you
but
mean?
but it's his life. So we got to wait and see. He's gotten offers from Berkeley,
Ooh,
USC.
ooh,
And so there's still some more out there. He had
ooh,
an interview with Yale. So we're gonna see what happens.
ooh.
But he is
Okay.
big on the carnivore diet, and I really don't know how because he was raised by a vegan mom. But he is very much on the carnivore diet, but he does eat a lot of eggs. And so I think I have persuaded him more that way. But he was saying, which I did not know about the carnivore diet, because I was like, oh, maybe I can do it kind of a vegan style. And he's like, yeah, no, mom, because a carnivore diet means you eat things that only has one or two ingredients. And I didn't
Yeah,
think about that.
yeah,
I thought,
that's
oh, if
true.
I can eat my vegan butter, he's like, no, because that's probably got about 5 ingredients. He said the
Hmm.
whole goal is to stay away from science.
Hmm.
And he's like, Mom, I'm telling you, anyone who does this will drop easy 30 something 40 pounds quick. It doesn't take forever. He said it's not like keto. It's completely different. You only eat things with one ingredient or two ingredients. He said, but the
Mm.
benefits, he said he felt like crap the first 2 days. He had mood swings, he was irritable. And he said, but after that third or fourth day, his energy just kind of soared. He said, but those 2 first days, he said, it is miserable. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Just getting through that miserable. So if anybody is trying to lose weight and you do love meat, try carnivore. Just remember, you can't, like me, a vegan, you want to add, plant meat or plant butter or plant, you can't do that. The whole goal of carnivore, which I learned, is that it should only have one or two ingredients. A tomato
Mm.
is a tomato. A spinach is a spinach. It's all about just eating really animal products. So not even vegetable, just animal products. And I was like, what about you going to the bathroom? Doesn't that cause problems? He's like, nope, it doesn't. I was like, okay, because it seemed like that would stop your rooter tooter tooter up a little bit.
Seems
I
like there'd
thought,
be a
yeah,
there.
yeah, but he's like, no, you know,
You're
mind
like,
you, he's in them 20s, so it might be a little bit different for him. So I wanted to bring that up. So guys, there is new evidence. I don't know if you guys remember this story with Scott Peterson. Scott Peterson, he lived in Northern California, which is why the story is very close to me, and I know Anthony actually remembers it too as well. He was married to this beautiful, beautiful girl. Her name was Lacey. Lacey was 9 months pregnant, about to deliver their little boy. And Lacey, unfortunately, I believe they found her floating in that body of water. I can't remember what body of water it was in
yeah,
Northern
I know. I should
California area.
remember the body of water. It was a huge deal.
It was huge because she just was so beautiful. She had this radiant smile. And when you saw her, you couldn't do anything but love her and love Connor. That was her son's name. And they're saying that there's new evidence believing that the baby is showing that the baby passed one date, and that date was the time that Scott Peterson was actually being interviewed. So they're saying there's no way that Scott would have been able to do it. But I'm a mom, and I'm here to tell you that sonograms, sometimes they get it wrong. Okay? They get it wrong. Nancy Grace, who followed this case, feels very strongly that Scott Peterson did it. And I have to say, gut wise and all the things, and being a mom, knowing that sonograms sometimes can be off, the birth and all those things can be off a little bit. I really think Scott did do it. Scott was having an affair around that time, which does not make him guilty, but he was just doing a lot of things that led up to, I believe, Lacey and Connor not being here anymore. So we're going to see what happens with that case.
I wish I would have had more time to re-familiarize myself entirely with this case because it was very interesting. I wish I had more. I hope we're able to revisit it like naturally, maybe if it
Yeah.
organically comes up again, but
Yeah.
only because, and this case, I think about this case in this way because at the time that this case was happening, I was either going to Sac State or I had just finished.
Hmm.
And so, at that particular time, I'm gonna let y'all in on the secret. I don't even know if I've ever said this out loud. There was a small period of time where I did consider what the road of a lawyer would look like, right?
Okay.
So that stayed with me a couple years. Just my own little secret. I'm literally just admitting this out loud. I don't even know if maybe I even thought about it like that until I'm just talking about it now.
Yeah.
But every time I look at this case, every time this case has came up, 2002 is when she was, yeah. So I had graduated, but you still kind of occupy. That's why 9/11 always occupies a certain space with me because you look at evidence and things like that and all the kinds of things. So I say that to say if he didn't do it, it's very likely he is very aware of who did and what exactly happened. He's not in the dark about it at all if he did
No, not at all.
That I do believe that. If we're talking physically from an evidence standpoint, that's why I'm saying, so I'm not going to even go because I don't want anybody to get offended but that's why I wish I could speak to it more because if I remember, this is why I want to revisit and see if my memory serves me correct. I remember there was a lot of circumstantial evidence that didn't look good for him, but didn't necessarily tie him
Right.
to it either.
Yeah, absolutely. There was, and I believe it's the Innocent Project in LA that are, they're big about finding cases and looking into cases and proving people's innocence. I think they need to go back and look more into this case, and we'll find out. We'll watch it just like with the Mendez brothers and see what happens with that. So, guys, a very big, big, big story. TD Jakes has decided to step down. His daughter, Sarah, as well as her husband. I believe it's Torrey Roberts. He's out there in
Or is that his
California.
name?
Yeah, they're going to be taking over the church. And basically, TD Jakes actually said that they've been working behind the scenes for about 4 years, knowing that this transition was going to take place and take it over. I absolutely have enjoyed listening to Torre as well as Sarah. So I don't think two better people could take it over. I don't know if she's going to be the head pastor or Torre is going to be the head pastor. I'm assuming he would. And then, obviously she'll be the first lady with that. But obviously we know that TD Jakes had a health scare. And I think it's smart of him to go ahead and bow out as his health, because you don't want your health to continue to deteriorate. And like he said, I've worked so hard and I've seen people lose their businesses because they work so hard and they're not even able to enjoy some of the fruit of their labor. So he's going to get out now. But unfortunately, because of this type of show, allegedly, a lot of people think he is getting out because of the allegations. He was brought up on some essay allegations too, as well. And they think that that contributed to his heart. Allegedly there are rumors, that he has been dealing with, younger guys and boys, and I don't know for that to be true or whatever, but I wish him well on his retirement. I do believe don't burn yourself out and and kill yourself. If you can bow out and you're good financially and you could, pass this baton over, to someone to, continue to keep it going and you can just enjoy the rest of your life. I think it's a great thing. And I wish him all the best.
Yeah, I mean, the allegations, I do remember the allegations. Um,
Mhm.
and who knows, it's funny, the church, me and my mother, God bless her soul, we used to discuss
Yeah.
the church a lot. We used to
Yeah.
discuss it a lot, but another conversation for another day. Um, I definitely think the health scare had something to do with it. Um, only know everybody knows what else that might have had something to do with it too, right?
Yeah.
Hey, look, hey, look, they could be both together. Like, the health scare and maybe just worrying about that,
Yeah.
they could all be, maybe you just need
Intertwined.
to back up off of all of it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Let me
Yeah.
let me just back up off of this one time. So, they could all be in the same pot. So, he's definitely built, like I say, church is an interesting place, man. He built a
Daughter's
a
house.
titan of a legacy though. Like
Yeah.
a titan of a legacy. Regardless of what you think,
Absolutely.
he built a titan of a legacy. So them taking it over. I watched a little clip of them taking it over, and it's like I say, it's a very interesting place, man. And his daughter and her husband are taking over. God bless them. Um,
Yeah.
and it'll be very interesting to see. I always kind of wonder when people, take over, like, is it because there's so much business involved?
Mhm.
And I understand, man. You can't be, yeah, cameras cost money, lights cost money, clothes cost money, uh, facilities cost money, staff costs money, things cost money.
Yep.
I get it. And that's just my personal thing that I live in fantasy land on, that just doesn't, a lot of times when you're in those situations now, you know, business and faith, a lot of times they don't always meet at the same place. And so it can bring out just certain parts of people that are very interesting in that
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah.
So it just be interesting. With that said, I'm just interested, like now that they're coming in, like, do you keep it status quo? Are you like, okay, now that we're here, dad, talking from Sarah's standpoint, dad got us here, babe, let's go. Now let's take it and run with it. Do you keep it? It's just be very interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Just in their approach to it, because I always wonder about that in that space, because it is in my, it's such a such an interesting space with regard to faith and business, right? So
Yeah.
how does one come in there? What do you know? It's an interesting journey. So I'll be curious to see how that works out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ace, give us a sports update. I know last week we talked about Elijah, and I think he's still in the hospital, right? Arena.
I do. From what I understand, he woke up. So super
Praise God
prayers and
for that.
blessings. Like I said, I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna manifest it for you, my brother. I hope 5 years from now, what I'm saying, you're able to look back at this and you're about to play game one of the NBA playoffs, and this is a story on how, what I'm saying, like, hey, 5 years ago there was this stair, you had the car accident, yep, you guys, you're talking about it with, what I'm saying, Gail King, or Stephen A. Smith, or Charles Barkley, or hey, I'm gonna manifest this for you, Shay Shay, you know what I'm saying, because you would
Yeah.
talk to Shay Shay, you gonna talk to him again, I'm gonna put that out for you, Shay Shay, hopefully, yeah, man, make better decisions
Yeah.
type thing. But so prayers and blessings to that. I'm gonna tie this into the playoffs, but I was going to do a story that literally just hit me.
Uh-huh.
It came across my feed, and a part of me wants to read it. It's a story that came across my feed, and I was like, oh, I'm using this. This would be a great way to tie in sports with a real life situation. And I'm only going to read certain, like, the high levels. Long story short, it's about Sonia Curry, Stephen Mama, and hey, look, all the cats.
Oh, I think I know this story, but let me
Stephen Mama,
listen.
you know what I'm saying? Hey, listen. One thing I'm telling you what Dell was doing. Hey, listen, I know they aren't together. God bless them all. I loved you all as a family unit and what y'all represent and the presentation you've given to the world. So even though y'all both ain't together, I still thank you for many years of doing what y'all did. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, Wardell Stephen Curry Sr. was doing when he got out of the game. When all the other fellas was going out, he was going home. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Right,
Sonya was at home. He was taking
right.
himself home. Hey, listen, why I gotta go chase what I already got? He was
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
himself home. You understand me? He was going home. Hey, and on some real, just don't give him some love. Stephen did the same thing. Steph going home. Hey, listen. Hey, Aisha at home. I'm going home. Hey, y'all
yeah,
can do whatever y'all want.
absolutely.
I'm taking what? Well,
Absolutely.
I gotta chase. Hey, Aisha's at the crib, son. I'm going home. You know what I'm saying? He taking
Right.
himself home. So there's I had to just give that little love. So anyway, Sonia Corey, according to this story, she went to the Sun. She wanted to buy a Ferrari for Steph. She wanted to surprise him with the gift. He had been talking about it and all this kinds of stuff. And long story
Mhm.
short, they gave her less than favorable treatment. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really acknowledge her.
Really?
And even when she had the bag and, she had just the things to show that she belonged in there, not that you have to have any of that stuff on, but even her casual wear
Uh-huh.
probably is looking like that. Like even if she's in there casual, if she has some sandals on, there probably some, saying whatever the high sandals, the Gucci sandals or whatever they are, right? Like
Mhm.
she even just on some casual wear, it's probably not a cheap outfit, right?
Right,
So if you know
absolutely.
what to look at money wise, you should know, okay, don't matter what this person looked like, black, white,
Right,
red, or purple. This person, I'm in here working at the Ferrari dealership. I need to be getting this commission. She could probably help my goal. So let me
right,
go talk to her. In fact, that's the person you should be talking to the most is the people that everybody else ain't. Oh, let me go talk to her. She probably got bags.
right.
So according to the story, she went in. They didn't pay her no attention. She told Steph about it. Steph, instead of slamming the dealership, goes and he creates this initiative. Well, first of all, he sends in like groups of people, like all different kind of people, black, white, some dressed down, some of
Mhm.
all races, men, women, all the kind of stuff. And according to the scientific experiment, everything had kind of fell in line for the most part with what happened with Sonia, right?
Wow.
He said that like even he sent in like a black neurosurgeon and he went in there and they didn't treated him the same way, pointing them to like the pre-used ones, the pre-owned ones, to get them something that's more reasonable because they wanted the new thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Whatever it was
right,
called.
right,
So then Steph then takes this information and goes to Ferrari and presents it to them in a way that like, lo, you guys need training and you need diversity and skills training. So he
I
pretty much
agree.
brought a training program in there for them to invest in so that they can train the employees on how to look for the things that we're talking about, how not to discriminate based on what you think is the situation. And then that partnered into his, and then, so long story short, they did that, implemented that all in the Ferrari dealerships. And then not only that, then his Eat Play Youth thing, they tied it in there, developing an initiative for young engineers, people who are interested in that field, so they can grow up and build Ferraris or build, young engineers that are underprivileged partner with Ferrari. And so now they're doing this thing. And Sonia then comes back in the same dealership, and somebody asked her a question. She was like, "Are you here to buy a car?" She was like, "No, I'm your trainer today." And everybody was talking about how the story came full circle and dope and all the kind of stuff. Now, that's awesome.
Yes.
Turns out the story was fake as all outdoors. God dang it.
Because I was like, why didn't I hear about this story? I was thinking of something else I kind of heard about her, because she's kind of had her name out there for some time. You so silly. But I'm like, wait a minute, all that was fake.
Listen, I read the whole thing. I'm sitting here like, this is an awesome spin.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
On the sports segment. This is awesome. Then I said, well, before I get to running with it, I got to look at a couple things. And turns out it's saying fake is all outdoors. But still a wonderful story. And still doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So still don't mean it doesn't happen. Tying that into
it happened with Oprah. It happened with Oprah back in Chicago.
Come on now.
And so it does happen, whether it's not or not. I'm gonna share my screen on this next story. Because, and this has happened so often, guys, when I search on this, Ace. So flight crew, obviously you guys know I'm a flight attendant. So these type of stories, I'm geeked out. I like to read about them. So flight crew delayed asking for medical help for man in crisis.
So
later
good, you will
transition.
cry while eating.
And there is a lawsuit by his family. So 63-year-old man who suffered an escalating medical crisis on board an American Airlines affiliated flight transitioned after its crew delayed requesting medical assistance until after the aircraft had landed, taxied to the gate, and all other passengers had to play in the lawsuit says. The filing against American Airlines and its regional area Envoy Air in Colorado federal court is seeking at least $75,000 in damages following the transition of John Cannon, a passenger from Kentucky who was traveling to Durango La Plata County Airport. The untimely passing of John William Cannon on April 29th was the direct and proximate result of the negligence and fault of the defendants, reads the lawsuit filed this week on behalf of his son. So let me say this. I cannot speak to American Airlines practices, but what I can speak to, that most flight attendants, I would say 100% we all are there for a passenger's safety. The last thing I can tell you from me, we want to happen to a passenger is to lose them, Ace.
Yeah.
We would never want to lose them. And so I feel like this was the side of the story from the family. I would love to see the side of the story from American Airlines, because I cannot see me being a flight lead and I do not try to get help. And why would I wait? I'm not waiting. Now, what is wrong? I don't know why the plane deplaned before they got emergency help, because we make y'all stay seated on Delta. You're not going nowhere. We need to get emergency help on here. So that part I don't understand, why everyone deplaned. And maybe that is the error on the judgment that the crew made to get everybody off the plane. But you don't want to take any chances, because someone's heart can stop. So they're just going to have to sit down, and we're going to have medical crews come up on the plane. And that's what we do all the time. We're on the phone calling, medical, like, hey, we need someone. We're going to divert. We need someone at blah, 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 blah. But in the meantime, we're either doing CPR, or we're giving them oxygen, or we're giving them aspirin, whatever their symptoms are. We have a guide that we follow to be able to assist them with whatever is going on, whether it's diabetes or anything like that. So, and then we automatically communicate with the doctor. We ask, is there any medical professionals on board? I mean, we do all these steps. Again, I don't know Americans' procedures, but this is pretty unfortunate. And when I did some research on this, guys, American was sued, I want to say about 4 years because a 14-year-old had passed. Then I saw another case where these black guys had sued American Airlines because they felt like discrimination. So there's been a lot going on with American with like lawsuits. I was just doing research for this, but when I pulled up lawsuits for American, they've had a lot of lawsuits actually against them for different reasons. So yeah, that's obviously, to poor John, sorry he lost his life. But a family's got to do what they got to do.
So it does seem odd. So you guys don't do that, right? If that was the situation, you would have got him off first,
We wouldn't even move him. We would have the medical personnel come on board
and everybody's still on the
and
plane.
everybody stay seated.
Okay.
That's what we do. No, we don't,
Okay.
because we don't want to move him. You know what I mean? Because any
Yeah.
little thing can cause, but we don't want no one to move because any second you wait, you can lose a life. So we
Yeah. Yeah.
open up
Yeah.
those doors and we tell them he's at 12B or he's at 5 Charlie, and here's what we did, and here's what's happened. But they've already got a report. We've already typed out a report, so they know exactly what's going on. Most times they're like, "Where's he at again?" And we're like 3A, and they fly over there and they start. And most people are patient. Most passengers
Yeah.
even get up. So, if that is true, again, it seems like the side of the story from the family. I don't know why they would have had everyone to deplane unless it was a bio or something. Because if there's a bio or something going on, well, that's different because a biochemical, those type of things can harm other people. That would
Mm,
be the only reason why we would try to get people, usher people off if there's something going on. But I still would have the medical personnel get on the plane first. So I
gotcha.
don't know all of that. But I would just say that companies really got to buckle down because they're going to lose a lot of money.
I thought it was peculiar. Even when I glanced at it earlier, I thought it was peculiar that it was, I mean, so obviously I don't know,
Yeah,
hence the reason I was asking you. But I did feel like it was peculiar that they deplaned first before getting him attention. Which is
doesn't
why I asked, did they get him off first? And you're like, no, we don't move anybody. We keep everybody as is, which makes sense
absolutely.
to me too. Having him get off first and doing something there makes sense. Having him stay and everybody just stay where they at to perform the duties that need to be done to try and save his or her life makes sense.
Yeah,
People deplaning and then they try and do that
it's
didn't
too
make
much.
any sense.
It just
So out of the three choices, that's the one I understood the least, which is why
yeah.
I asked the question.
And then you would tell people that are close in his proximity to move back just to give him air. But
Yeah,
we wouldn't say deplane because deplaning means you're having people taking off their luggage, and people take forever sometimes deplaning, right?
yeah,
So why in the hell would I deplane a plane when that I know how long
right,
people
right,
take the
exactly.
plane, chit-chatting, talking, and da, 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 da. It doesn't make sense. And like I said, we're only reading one side of the story. But I'm just obviously passionate about these stories. These stories help me being in aviation to just be mindful that and if a flight attendant watches this, like we have to take this job seriously. People expect us to be there for their families, and these type of things shouldn't happen. And one of the things I do talk to my company about is not escalating everybody to be a lead, and a lead is
Mm,
kind of like the supervisor on the plane because everyone does not have those skill sets, and
mm,
so they're
mm,
making a decision sometimes with experience that is very, very limited,
mm-hmm.
and so yeah, it's pretty unfortunate, guys. So let's get into our inspiration for the weekend. And here it goes. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Let me say that again. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Woo! AC Wacy. Who takes this first? Me or you? And that is by Anas Nin. Anas Nin. Anaisnin. Do I take this one first or do you take this one first?
Um, I'll take it first.
Go for it.
Well, the reason why you guys are those who, hey, listen, please like, subscribe. Official Lisa Renee, The Real Ant Wild. Buckle your seatbelts, July 26th at the
Yes.
Space, Las Vegas, Nevada,
Yes.
8 p.m.
Yes.
Lisa Renee is the bomb. I will be help assisting detonate that bomb.
He that's a good way to say. Yeah, I was supposed to say you in the show, but you said it so good. I didn't have to say any more of that. I'm just sharing the link while you were talking about it too as well.
But I bring that up to say
Colorado Springs this weekend, an MS-13 nightclub got iced.
Hey, when you bring something
Over
up,
100
is
illegal
there
gangsters?
I'm hearing some
arrested
like
with their girlfriends.
audio. Anyway,
Their wives weren't watching.
but there it is,
Think about
y'all.
how brazen these migrants were. They had their
And
own
if you
nightclub
actually
in the
come
middle
to
of Colorado.
mine
And
and
Biden
look
knew about
at
it
the
and let it thrive.
description, if you
During the
happen to look
Biden
at the description of the
administration,
show,
they
I
received
include this
170
link in my
911 calls
description
to
of the
that
show,
club
y'all.
alone.
So you
That
can
club
also
we were
go
just
to
watching,
the description of
170
the
calls.
show, and
Wouldn't you
this
think that
link
would have
is
been a red
included in
flag?
that.
Nothing happened.
But
Guns, shootings,
the reason I say that and bring that up is because that's literally why you guys are seeing us. We ain't spring, hey, we've been around the sun a few times.
Yeah.
Probably a few more times than a lot of y'all watching. And
Yeah.
the reason why you are seeing us right now is literally as a result of the phrase, because it really doesn't matter. Hey, I know this ain't gonna happen. I know it ain't gonna be nothing but profitable. But hey, listen, if it all were to do whatever we're gonna do, hey, hey, when it's time to enter the kingdom, I can be like, hey man, hey, your boy gave it a shot. Lisa Renee will say the same thing. Hey man, your girl gave it a shot, right? Because the risk of not giving the shot, the risk of, what did it say? The risk of
Remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom.
yeah, the risk to remain tight in the bud is just it's more risky. It's as far as true solemn and peace and happiness. Not everybody's wired this way. I'm wired that way. Lisa Renee is wired that way. That's why you're seeing us right now. Like literally. You know how easy it would have said to be like, man, we did our thing, because we have done our thing. We really have, but we haven't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, there's work that's been put in around here, man. There's work that's been put in around here.
The
I
men
need to
probably
get
like,
better.
show this
I
one
need to
again.
get better.
He
No,
probably
I need
like,
to get
show this.
better. I need to get better at putting my album things up. Yeah, don't worry, that's coming. I'm setting up my thing
Put it
now
to
so you can
work.
see my past existence and things. See where I've lived and done and
Black
this
don't
and that.
crack. I
You
said,
know what I'm saying?
black don't
Black
crack.
don't crack. You know what I'm saying? But again, those are perfect examples. You know, even with that said, this is even different than that, right? This is why we're doing it. It's like, oh no, there's even a different grind than that. And you know what? F it. Because the only person who got to deal with this is me or Lisa or whoever. Whoever feels this way and shares this sentiment, at the end of the day, it don't matter what y'all say. The only person who got to deal with it is me. So if I said, nah, I'm going to play safe, man, I'm going to just dive my head in and do whatever, then yeah, okay. I guess that's safe. But man, when you go and sit down at your final, and I do think there is a moment where it flashes all before, and when it flashes before, see me, I'm trying to meet the person that flashes before me even when I'm alive. That's why I'm trying to meet them, right? Because I like me. I'm cool. I'm dope. I'm all the things. I can say that humbly, and I'm grateful. It doesn't come without struggle. It's constant refinement within myself. But I like me.
Yeah.
I do. I genuinely do. I'm a fan of Ant Wild.
Yeah.
But I still see a version of me where I'm like, okay, yeah, let me meet you, young fella. Let me go meet you. You know what I'm saying? And the only way I'm going to really meet that person is to continue on the journey that we're on. If I if I go into the bud, you know what I'm saying? When when the risk to remain tight in the bud is more painful. So I just rather get rid of the pain and then we'll deal with it from there. Right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't deal with that pain. I couldn't deal with, even if I don't meet the dude, I'm still gonna meet the dude who's trying to meet that dude, right? I'm gonna stay meeting different versions of that cat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, oh, hey man, good to meet you, man. Oh, what's up? Love, love, love. Hey man, there's this cat up here at this next stop, though. I'm with you though. I'm bringing all y'all with me, but I gotta go meet this version and continue. Once I meet him, what's up, my guy? Hey man, hey look, let's go get him. Hey, let's go get him.
Yeah.
Now rallying the troops. Let's keep going to meet these cats.
Yeah.
It's more painful than it's more painful. The risk to remain tight in the bud. Nah, man, I'm gonna take the risk to try and blossom. So that's where all these things, but this one, it literally is the present that you're seeing. So wherever this resonates with anybody, take it and run with it where you will, because it's the truth, Ruth.
Absolutely. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in the butt was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. I think for me, and Aunt Wow tapped on it a little bit, it is scary a little bit to step in your power. Because when you step in your power, first of all, sometimes people are like, ooh, we didn't know this side. You know what I mean? Stepping in your power can sometimes diminish the power of others. Not that you are trying to do that, but your power sometimes has to come with saying no. It has to come with sometimes trying things that are out of your comfort zone. It may be walking away from people in your life, family, or even friends. It may even be creating yourself even a new network of people.
Yeah.
It may be I have to unfollow everybody and start a new following. Because if I stay the way that I am, tighten up in this bud, the fact of the matter is I'm going to get nowhere.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to get nowhere. I'm going to go nowhere. But if I take the risk to blossom, which means to be all you possibly can be, it doesn't mean the journey is easy. It doesn't mean that you're going to bump your head. But what it means is that you're on a journey to walk in your power and your strength and your gifts in what God brought you here to do. He's right. What we're doing now, this show was about, let's just try something. We always have these great conversations privately. Why don't we make these conversations publicly?
1,000.
Why? You know what I mean? And eventually you get monetized and you make money off of having this commentary that you would normally have privately by yourself. And so I remember this, I didn't want to do this trip, guys. It was so bad. It was the worst trip ever. It was like 4 legs. Go here, go here, go here. It just wears you out doing 4 legs. I like 1 leg or 2 legs. 1 leg, I get on the plane, we board, I take you there, I go on my layover. That's 1 leg. That's what I prefer. Or maybe 2, no more. But it was 4 legs. I hated the trip. But by the end of the trip, I knew exactly why God put me on trip. There was this girl named Jenny, the cutest girl ever. Jenny, this Asian girl. And she would just listen to me talk about buckle your seatbelts. And then she just started asking me questions. And she had to be maybe, I think, like 21, 20, no more than 24. And by the 3rd day being on the trip, she was like, you have motivated me so much. I'm trying to step out away from my parents and be my own person. And I want to write a book. And I wasn't sure how to start it, but you motivate me. And so if I stayed in my bud or didn't go do that trip, I would have been no influence to anybody else. So what you don't understand is when you step outside and you get out of this painful fear, you're helping other people. Right? You may not feel if you get 2 views, that's 2 people that took in what you had to say on your YouTube or your TikTok or your Instagram. And if you influence 2 people, that's more than a person who doesn't even have a channel. But had I not went to work that day, or had I stayed quiet about my show, because I'm very vocal about buckle your seatbelt. Sales are sales. I talk about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it at any point or whatever. I have been an entertainer on every regular 9-to-5 job, and I will not stop being an entertainer. Right. Every job I've had, I have performed while being at that job. And even at Verizon, and while I'll tell you, I performed for our kickoff. So I'm never going to not be an entertainer. It is who I am. It is a part of my DNA, and I don't care. And that is my priority. Yeah. See, what happens is when you stay tight in a bud, it's almost like you're crippling your life. Yeah. You're giving other things this priority over what's deep in your heart and in your spirit and your mind. And I'm telling you from a girl, and while we may not sure we're gonna kill it July 26th, but while we not having nerves and thinking about everything and stressing and look, yes, we're human. And we just performed. We tore the stage up just late last year. But we also know that we're undertaking something big too as well that can expand our lives in such a great way. And it doesn't mean that we're not nervous. We come off, we're confident, but we're nervous like the next one. But at the end of the day, we are not going to stay balled up. We're going to go out on that stage and we're going to do what we do. Something we've been doing throughout the years. We're just going to be doing new lines, new theatrics, new sounds, new music. You know what I mean? So I encourage you right now, and if you're watching, Aunt Wow spoke to the men or the women. I'm speaking as a woman. We both have shared these 2 perspectives. Step out on faith. Believe in the vision, whatever it may be. Sometimes you can't even see it, but you can feel it in your spirit and your heart, so much of something that you want. Step out on faith. Speak what you want. Pray and say, this is what I want, and watch the resources just start to come to you. I was just in a hotel room, and Aunt Wow can tell you, I started just telling him about this show, and he's like, what? Next thing you know, the show's done. What? Wait, what? It's just an idea, and you just start writing, and I'm like, yeah, and you're going to be the music director. Okay, Aunt Wow's like, all right. And I mean, if anybody who knows Aunt Wow, this boy knows music like the back of his head. He is, guys, if y'all just go listen to some of his music, he's not new to this. Pull up Aunt Wow on Spotify. You'll see what I'm talking about. He knows music in and out. Then I called on my girl who I know who has directed plays in Sacramento, like, hey, let me run this through you. And her mouth was dropped by the end of it. And she's a vocal friend of mine. If it sucks, she'd have been the first one like, this sucks. Right. But her mouth was dropped. And by the end of it, she says, you wrote this? Now, she knows I've written 3 books. Yeah. But a theatrical play is different than a book. Yeah. And she's like, oh, my God, this is good. To the fact that she changed her trip. She was going to Jamaica that week. Yeah. Instead of her going home, she's flying directly to the show to help me direct that night because I'm going to be on stage. And so, like Aunt Wow said, we're speaking to you of what we're doing right now. Just step out on faith. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for joining Another Mother Poddio. Hey! Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. If you feel the show was helpful, please do share, guys. And we will see you this time next Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then it would be that would be like 6 a.m. on my channel.
I do it 9 a.m., but I might start doing it at 6. with,
We
to
might start
correspond
doing
with.
it at 6 so we
I
can do
might start
it.
doing it at 6 to correspond with your 9.
That would be great. That would be great because that would
So
give
that's probably what's gonna start happening, y'all. So
on the way
hey,
to work. On the way to work.
whatever time zone you're in, look for it at official Lisa Renee, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Real Ant Wild, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever and everywhere in between. Mountain Time, whatever that corresponds with you, Central Standard Time, whatever that code, all the people
Like
in the
7,
UK,
yeah.
whatever time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday is for you, wherever you are in the world, correlated with that. Official Lisa Renee, The Real Ant Wild, you'll see us there. Boom.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Ride with us on your way to work, guys. We will see you. Blessings to you. Bye, everybody.